Alright, today I realized that my presentations on Mutt and links had no audio, as well as one of my presentations on getting OpenSSL to be forced to be installed into Haiku. And OpenSSL is a dependency that leads up to this next compilation that I've done. So I'm going to do those other two later. I'm going to continue on with this. You can see what I've done with the soundless ones. I may replace them later, I may not. So what I'm going to do today is something called Xmlcatmgr, and it's under text processing in Pkgsrc. And this is probably one of the more unusual compilations I've ever done. I mean, it's strange what the outcome is on this. And I actually don't know what to conclude about this. So here's going to be the basic process that I'm going to go through. I can tell that the results are probably not what's expected, and then I'll demonstrate. I'm going to install and uninstall this a couple times to demonstrate what saying works, and then I'll go into what appears to be unusual, at least to me, with this whole thing. So this should be important. I think there's something important going on here that may be related to a lot of the compilation failures, and I haven't sorted it out yet, because of course I don't know what mechanism. And in case you're wondering, and I'll even do an additional compilation from source outside of Pkgsrc. You can see that it has nothing to do with the results that I'm having. In fact, the results are identical, using make or bmake or what have you. So the basic roadmap I'm going to follow is it's going to download the source code. It's going to error out during the compilation phase. It's going to be looking for some errors that are called warn and warnx. They're related to 7 C files that are in the source code directory. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to copy 2 header files from this 2 different header subdirectories that are in the system. I'm going to end up placing them inside of the source directory. I'm going to attempt to compile. It'll error out. Then I'm going to make a number of changes. I'm going to copy some code that appears in the system.h file into all 7 of the C files. I'm going to modify the system.h file, which is a header that comes with source code that acts like a header control file. And I'm going to change a few of the includes, so it'll include the header files I copied over from the system. And I'm going to run it again. It'll fail one more time, and then I'm going to ask it to look system for one of the header files, and then it will succeed. And then I'll do it again. I'll demonstrate that if I try to call the system header file, it'll fail, but then if I change it to read the local one, it'll succeed. So very odd. There are some redundant header files inside our system. I don't know if that's a problem or not. There are header files in a BSD directory, an OS directory, a POSIX directory, and some have the same names. So I have to wonder whether sometimes when we get these errors and we try to compile, it simply isn't able to read the headers. And this is a demonstration of that. It's simple enough to show it, and I'll do it all three ways. In fact, I'll do both. I'll do it four ways. Okay. So let's start out here. So I've just ended up uninstalling my package, and I've made clean. And so I'm gonna do bmake install, and this is from Pkgsrc. So it's already downloaded the source code. It's gonna unzip it. It's gonna do whatever its overrides are, whatever its patches are. I don't think there's actually any overrides or patches that really do anything to Haiku because no one's made them yet, and I certainly haven't. But just in case you're wondering, you'll see from this that it doesn't matter. It'll fail out after the configure stage will proceed, and then it will fail out at pretty soon after this. And here's the warn_x references, and it starts. There are actually 7 different C files that I've actually set aside here in this directory over here that's on my desktop that that are mentioned in this set of errors. It doesn't mention the system H file. It doesn't mention the error.h or the cdefs.h file. Now, let's look at the contents of the system H file. This is the edited one. This is the way it's going to end up being. So I have here on line 78, I've put error H in brackets. In fact, when we look at the original source here and see what it looks like. Home Pkgsrc, there's my local right there. It's in text processing and here's the work. And down here is the source code directory. This is the source directory, and over here at system.h, what does it have on line 78? It wants to include, it's in an if function, and it wants to include this error.h as if it were located right where the system headers are supposed to be. Okay, then there's some lines over here, and this is going to become very important. In fact, I'm able to do this manually. So what I'm doing was, number 1 for this, I first of all made this not read-only anymore. Put the error.h in quotes. I'm going to end up pulling error.h from the headers, and then this here I highlighted these 4 lines here. There's something going on with this definition. Okay. But I don't see that the make file changes. The make file it's created says this is true. Okay. I end up having to attempt the compilation twice, and it doesn't matter if I put the quotes there first, like I'm going to do now, or if I change it to brackets. I still have to attempt it after I've made the changes I've made, both with the quotes and then with the brackets, and then it will succeed. It doesn't matter what order I go into, which I thought was very strange. This is at least what I found. And then up here where it's got syscdefs, I just shouldn't have done that. Put quotes here instead of the. So what that means, when I put quotes, just to review, when I put double quotes around that, what that means is this file where some definitions for this program are going to be called from are actually located in the same directory as this system.h file. Put brackets around it. Based on some of the behavior I've seen before, I know at least it's going to look in the boot system develop headers POSIX directory. And that SYS to the left of cdefs that I've just changed and gotten rid of means that there would be a cdefs file located in the boot home, the boot system, develop headers, pause sys directory, and there is actually one. I could try to just leave that and not have the cdefs in there. I did a bunch of things when I first did this, so maybe that's not going to be necessary. We will find out. There's another here. In fact, so I'm going to run this without having without putting the cdefs file inside where the compilation is going to take place. So it's in home, let's see, Pkgsrc, yeah, it gets kind of confusing. For text processing, Xmlcatmgr work, Xmlcatmgr, here's the source. Okay, let's look at this. This is what I want to be doing. I want to be looking at this directory here. I want to look at the system.h file that I've already looked at. Strange, maybe I left it. And there's the config.h, there's the cdefs that I've changed. Okay. And this I've put brackets around it so it'll call up local file, which is the error.h. This right here that I put in yellow, the error.h, I'm definitely going to have to pull that over. And that's in the BSD header directory. So it's, let's see, that's POSIX. Here's BSD. There's the error. And this is read-only, so I can't change it. Right? So I'm going to copy it over, and I'm going to put it into the work directory here. So I've moved that. I've yet to copy over the cdefs. In fact, I shouldn't have changed that because the cdefs was in a system directory. So I'm going to see whether it's going to be able to call this actually. So sys cdefs. Okay. We must see if we looked at the header already over here at POSIX. There's a sys directory for cdefs, right? So that directory there that I've just highlighted in black, the fact that I have the sys on the left and then the cdefs means that it's going to look, if I just had like this config.h, theoretically should be in the POSIX directory, but it's not. Well, that's the sys directory. It should be in the POSIX directory, and wow, don't see it. Don't see it there. It could be, I mean, there's a lot of header directories here, and some of these are redundant. So is it in the B directory? No. Is it in the private? What the hell is in there anyway? Who knows? Is it in the OS directory? No. x86, this is taking a long time. I have to wonder. What is this? What is this? Just checking here. Okay. Well, I don't even know where this config.h file is, okay? But apparently it doesn't, I can't find, I don't know where it is. I mean, so anyway, I'll see whether we have success with the cdefs not being copied over. Okay, so all I've done is move the error file there. I've made the I've edited the system header, system.h, that comes with the source code to read this local error.h file, but to try to read the, God, what file is that? cdefs file from the POSIX directory under the sys folder, I believe. Okay, it's so confusing. And then I still have not changed the contents of these 7 C files, which includes generic, gr string, sgml, xml, xml doc, which is somewhere down there, .c, these are all .c, main and mem.c. Okay, so the only change I've really made is said, hey, you know, call this error.h. Now let's try it. And the errors look the same no matter what you do. Okay, still the still the same set of errors. Now I'm going to, and I'm going to do this next part. I'm going to put the quotes now around the system header thing here at the error. I'm doing this to be scientific. So I'm actually going to put the brackets around this. So it's not able, for some reason, it's not able to read the local, or it's not reacting to it. Let's do that. So we got brackets. Now it's actually should, if it's able to read this, it's able to read this from the directory that I got it from in the first place. Now, with all the changes made, I'm still experimenting right now. So what I would note is then when I try to run this again, it would work now, but it didn't work with the brackets around it originally. And then I'm not sure it'll succeed. I still think it needs to have line 70, let's see, 80 through 83 from system H copied into each one of the 7 C files and placed at the top below the license and other information about the file at the very beginning of the code area. Let's just try this. It might succeed, and if it does, then I'll know that the only reason why I failed, no, it's not, so it still failed. So this isn't the only reason why I'm failing, this inconsistent behavior that I'm observing that I've yet to prove on this video. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is copy these 4 lines, edit, copy, close that. Let's go to the generic, make them readable, paste, and save. So that's 1 of 7 of these things I have to do. Let's see, do I still have that open? Don't know. Then the grstr, get readable. Over here, 1, 2. Do I know why I'm doing this? No. There probably is a better technical explanation as to what's going on. And I'm also gonna open up the make file, and because config is already passed, we're in the make stage, and so that can be looked at too. Okay, so here is, I've pasted in what needs to be pasted into that. It's 2 of 7 files. sgml.c. Now imagine if this was a lot bigger, this would be a real treat to do. There's something going on, I think. Okay, Alt-V and save. It's number 3, SGML, XML. Oh, let's do main and then mem. These are the C files too. And even though I'm including code from this, did it twice. Something's going on with the if then, but when I look at the make file, it will, I'll go back and I'll show you the conditional and sys.h, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I'll compare it to the make file. Okay, mem.c, make it readable. So I have xmlc, xmldoc. .c. All right, now let's see if it behaves in the way I expect it to. So, the system header, I'm going to leave as it is, and the error header in brackets, so that should be calling the system, right? Up at the top, I still have it also trying to read the file from the system, from sys cdefs.h. I've copied over the error, but I haven't copied over the cdefs yet. I have edited, I believe, 7 C files, and it worked. So copying over cdefs is not critical. It's able to find this file in the directory that it's in. And it also is able to deal with the system error header file. And I wonder if all that really has to be done is to copy over just the C files, and that's it. Let's test that theory. So I'll be copying over these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because they're edited exactly the way that I showed it here. So I'm going to close the file that I edited. This folder here will probably disappear, so I should probably just go up so it doesn't. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I've done before, package delete, header, and then vmake clean. Work file disappears, and we are clean. So we can start over again. So let's do make install. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if all I have to do is just copy over the C files that have that code, and it's down to whether for some reason the program isn't able to read the definition. Maybe it could be a bug in the program. We'll see. So let's try it out. Vmake install. Just like before, it's going to error out where it was. With undefined references to warn and warnx. So I'm doing this a second time. I'm doing this a second time to try to figure out if I can narrow it down to a smaller group of symptoms. And you notice when I edited those C files, I was actually copying in code that was coming from the system.h header that was locally placed. that rest right below a conditional situation. Okay, so now let's go to the work file. Let's go into there. And grab these C files only. Oh. And just so you can see this, all I've done is copy those in. And go over here and let's paste these in. File, paste, am I in package source? Yes, I am. I'm going to replace them all. All right. And this has an unchanged system header. And if I remember right, this should be making a call from sys cdefs h, and it should be making a system call from the error header, right? Same condition I was in last time, right? All I did was edit the C files to add those 4 lines that came from system.h. For some reason, those definitions aren't being pulled into the C. It is below a conditional, and so perhaps it doesn't think the conditional is fulfilled, but let's do this. Okay, some brackets. Remember? Last time this succeeded. So let's do it. But it errored out. Well, that's strange. It worked before under the exact same conditions. So what's going on? All right, so I'm going to grab this error file that I've set aside. I have not edited it. Go back into system H. Make it not read-only. Go here and do the brackets. Put it in double quotes and save it. And let's go for it again. And it worked. It'll install. So the question is, why isn't it reading that header file? And the second question is, why isn't it pulling in the code from the system.h file into the C file? So, okay, let's go here. All right, so here's generic C, right? And it is including, in quotes, system.h. So there should be a system.h file in the same directory, and because it includes system.h, it should be passing this variable onto this file unless there's if-then logic that prevents it from coming through. So, system H, let's go down to where that is, and here it is, and this is an if statement. So it's saying that if it's been defined that there is an error.h, then include this file right here. If not, else. If not, then do this stuff. Define these things. The problem with this, I think, is that no, I don't know. See, I don't know the order it's supposed to compile in. If these things get defined after the C files try to compile, it's not going to work. Right? If the definitions are passed on too late, the compiler won't know what definitions to apply to variables and say, hey, you got an undefined reference here. But what was really odd about this is it actually acted as though the logic was on, and it seemed to not be able to consistently read either the local error.h or the error.h that is in the BSD headers folder. So if it seemed like the logic stopped here. The else never came into play. So I had to go and add that code to the C files. I didn't mess with headers. I just put it right in there. But this is the header that, brings that logic up. So is there something missing from this error.h or from the BSD error.h that will not give us what we need? It does have void warn x constant character. And who made this, by the way? This comes from FreeBSD. So here's the warn, and the warn x is down here. It's looking for a constant character and then a print like. Let's see what's going on here. Compat warn x. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about this code to judge whether there's something incompatible between this code and this code here. But I'm using the same code. The point is I'm using the same code. That's what's so strange about it. So it may or may not. There's something about whether I put quotes or brackets around this thing here after it's failed the first time that will cause it to succeed where it wouldn't before. And then I still have to end up putting this code below the else. So in all cases, none of this is being picked up. I believe I think this defines the things that the error is asking for. And so the definition never comes into play. The question is, does the logic on the file have if defined, have error h? Is it true or false? What's so strange about it, it seems to need both of these things. It seems that the B needs both of those things. Let's go ahead and look at the make file. It's a very configure, come on, or something like that. Oh yeah, don't ever double click on these, it'll actually try to run the configure script. Okay, that's not it. I saw something that was very interesting in here at some point. There literally are flags that, is it config status? Oh, great. Double clicked on it like I said not to. Okay. That's not it. What the hell's going on here? Okay, there's this log here. Oh, it's okay. As it says in this book by Martin Brown that I don't have on the counter right now, there's this config H file. And some programs do this. This basically is a configuration file that defines variables that are used in the make file. So let's see, open with PE. Here we go. Okay, here's define have error H1. So when configure ran, it modified this config.h file, and it did say that have error H, have the error header is true. Define to 1 if you have the error H header file, right? That's what that says. So when make runs, it, based on the results from configure, it looks at this variable and says, ah, okay, you have it. So let's do the first part of the logic, but let's skip the last part. Which comes back to our system.h. So it's only going to do this part of the logic, but I noticed that this part of it isn't working consistently. I literally have to go from local to system provided header file back and forth before the compile will work. Meanwhile, the logic of this system header is a problem because it appears that Haiku needs not only for it to include the error.h file, which it hasn't consistently, but it also needs to pass on these 4 lines to the C files to allow it to compile. So it shouldn't be an else. In fact, I probably, for Haiku's purposes, let's see if I can do this. I could probably change the system header. I could save myself a lot of time and effort. Wouldn't have to change those 7. Okay, so let's do it again. We're going to do package delete, or make clean. We're going to do package delete. And what's going to happen here? I'm going to change this. So I'm not going to even worry if I have that defined. Oh, you know what? It's no longer there. Don't save. Okay. It's right here. Here's the one. Okay, so I'm going to try this. Let's see if I can figure this out and get it to be a little better. So I'm not going to use this. First, I'm going to make it read-only. Not read-only. I'm not going to worry about that definition. And I'm just going to include it. Now, let's hope this thing runs, and let's hope it passes the variable. Now, now when it has includes, it's kind of far over there, isn't it? Alright, so I've saved it. This is my own version of, so I'm going to see if I could just switch up the system H file. So what I've done is I've realized there's some if-then logic in this header that's causing a problem. I've also noted that the err.h header isn't being read consistently from boot system develop headers BSD, that directory. When it doesn't, I've noticed that I need to copy it over. So I still may have to change this system.h file, but what I'm going to see is, because it wasn't passing on these 4 lines of code to the C files, I'm going to see where, now that I've gotten rid of this if-then logic, that it will pass it on, and so therefore I won't have to edit all 7 files. And then so what should happen in this case, the first compilation will fail. Then I'll end up copying over this file. It'll again, and then once I put the quotes, move the error.h file into the directory and remove the brackets and replace it with quotes, it'll work. Let's see if I've narrowed this down. So I've deleted, made clean. This is the stuff I have sitting around. So cdefs I've eliminated as necessary. Error.h seems to be necessary. Now the question is, am I going to need to have all these edits necessary? Or will I be able to actually use the functionality that's provided with system.h and pass those on? Alright, so let's do the make install. Source code's already downloaded. It's going to unzip it. It's going to place files where they belong in the respective directories, and it will fail the same warning. After it messes with toolchain wrappers and all this other garbage. Doing the configure stuff now. Step 1. The second step is make. Now it's doing make. The make will fail with these undefined references. Okay, so now let's go over here, back into our directory where we have our source code. I happen to have Pkgsrc doing that work for me. What I'm going to do is place this now modified system.h that simply includes stuff and simply defines stuff here. I'm going to replace, oh, didn't put it in the right directory. In fact, I still need it. No, there it is. Okay. Because it needs to go into the source directory. It's got to replace the one that's there already. File, paste. So, if my fix worked, I won't have to change 7 C files. The only thing that will happen is that it will fail to compile the first time, and then I'll, oh, where's the error? Okay, then I need to, okay, am I using quotes or not? Am I doing the system one, or am I using a local one here? That should, I can't have my replacement one fail because I didn't bother to change things properly, can I? That goes into the sys directory. Down here, okay, so the only thing I should really have to change, of course, did I actually edit the right one? Yes, I did. This is in the Pkgsrc directory. The only thing I should have to change, if I'm right, and if I was able to pass these variables on to the other C files, is this include file having, by getting rid of the brackets and putting quotes around it. That worked. So, getting rid of that logic in this area on lines around 76 through 80 allowed the logic from these 4 lines to be passed on to all 7 C files. It may have made this work consistently now where it didn't before. So I could find that out. All I gotta do is just, so the only thing I've really done here I didn't even copy in the error header. So, okay. So that really makes it a lot easier. Okay, so this should be the only change that I make. So I'm going to go back. Just going to make sure that it has that. Yeah, so the logic is gone. Let's see if it works consistently. I wonder if I could. Okay, let's do a package delete. Let's go up here to the work directory so I don't have to dig all the way through there again. Be made clean. All right. Be make install. In the work directory. Come on, where's the source code? There we are. And there's the source. And maybe if I'm lucky. Be able to replace that before even. So maybe I could actually escape without it making an error. Whoa. Now it's saying there's no cdefs. Did I have this mislabeled? Do I have cdefs in quotes? Yes, I do. Damn it. Sys dots. That's what it is. Okay. I'm going to check that again. I'm going to do another run to make sure it works. So I know that all I got to do is replace that thing. And we're good. So that worked. Okay, so. I'm kind of using logic and the scientific method to figure out what goes on and testing hypotheses and following up on them and narrowing things down after I've made some assumptions and then tested those assumptions. Okay, so work directory, it's gonna make clean again. I know. All right, so let's do make install. Go into the work directory before it's even done, actually. Go into the source code directory before it's even done. File and paste, replace. That's what I want to see. Now I want to see this work. So, if I knew how to patch in Pkgsrc, I would get it to modify this system.h file for what works. So let's hope it works. Yep, worked. All right, so that's it. So if I knew how to patch, I would patch the system.h file. I would subtract out the if-then logic and replace it with what I wanted, or maybe or something like that. You know, we do an if-then. The patch would only apply if the system was identified as Haiku. I don't know how to patch, so all right. So I thought I'd found something, but no, there was something going on with that logic. It wasn't in the code of the package itself. It wasn't being consistently applied, so it looked like the compiler wasn't able to consistently read the contents of some of the POSIX directory, and that just ended up not being true. So, so it helps to kind of narrow things down, and that I went through the process of narrowing things down. In that case, so the only real change I had was eliminating some lines of if-then logic. So I'm done with this.